Hello, thank you for tuning into this section of reads. These reads are definitely valid for whenever you come to them. The cards and dice, that's going to be below. This should be on YouTube channel James13 Wicca, just in case you're seeing it somewhere else. This is where it should be on YouTube. And that being said, this is the last month I'm going to be doing readings at Renewed and Rescued, but there's cool things there if you want to check it out. It's in Herkimer, New York. If you'd like a reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. It's James the number 4 at astral@gmail.com. Excuse me, it should be right down here. And if you'd like the donation information, that's below, same email. Thank you very much for watching. Let's go ahead and get into your reading. Hello, Pisces. Thank you very much for tuning in to this week's read. These readings are valid for whenever you come to them. That being said, what do we have for Pisces? Okay. Sorry, I heard a truck in the distance and I'm like, what's going on? Everything in its time. I like this reading for you. I'm a Pisces myself. We always have to get that out of the way at some point. This reading is going to be, I don't think it's going to be all sunshine rainbows, but I don't think it's ever going to get difficult. So just in case you're kind of like, where is this going? Hold on to the end. If this is for you, you'll know it. Just hold on to the end. I'm just saying. Yeah, you have the possibility here. Possibility to really move something forward. Okay, I'm saying this as a Pisces myself. One of the catch-22s for Pisces, and this is just the general Pisces energy. I was raised by two Pisces, I'm just saying. We are tend to be very creative, tend to be very intuitive. The problem is it can just be in here and never get out here into reality. And when we get that energy more mature and more under our control, we start really acknowledging like, okay, this is great up here. What's going on up here? This is fun. This is great. But unless I get it out here in reality, it doesn't really create the joy and happiness that I need for my life. So it's just, we're going through that energy to where, how do we bring what we want that's going on in our brains out into life? And you got a lot of it. Like, this to me speaks about Pisces so much, because it's like creativity, options, possibilities. Also the danger of daydreams, the danger of like just being infatuated with thoughts that never come to fruition. It's almost like romantically thinking about somebody and never moving forward towards them, never talking to them. That's a danger. Versus like, okay, I'm attracted to somebody. I'd like to do these things with them. How do I get to communicate with them? How do I see if it's real? You know? It's taking that inspiration and making it reality. And you have something you want to do, and it's in front of you. The moment should be here when this reading hits that you know, hopefully, what this is about. Because I'm getting like, I know what I want. I'm like, I know what I want. And I feel like it's right here. The thing is, it could be in the land of daydream. Daydreaming is not bad if you can make a reality from it. There is resistance here. Okay, so there's a danger here that it's kind of like, well, it's a fun thought, and then just letting it be a fun thought. They're trying to bring that energy forward, like, no, don't let it just be a fun thought. Don't be just entertained by this. Make this your reality. Bring that joy and happiness into your life. You have a lot of power, and it's kind of like realizing, I can make things happen. I just got to step it into reality. The thing is also, in my opinion, because I'm a Pisces, I'm just saying in my opinion, slow and steady wins the race. If you can get yourself in a pattern, whatever you want, to where you do a little bit, even if it's 10 to 15 minutes every day, a lot of times I compare it to my own history. I'm just like, there's been times where I've spent years and I've thought about things and I never moved forward. If I look back in those years, like the years I've spent on certain thoughts, and then I'm like, if I just put 10 to 15 minutes every day into it, can you imagine where I'd be today? Don't put that in a negative place. Put that in a positive place. Like, I could start here and I could start creating something and I can make beautiful things happen. Hopefully I said that the right way. Because you have what it takes. You do have it. It's just finding out what works for you, what plan works for you, what can you realistically stick with. It's like a downfall for me personally. I get too excited, I get over involved, I get gung ho, gung ho, gung ho, run, 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 and then I'm like, oh my god, I can't do this anymore. I can't stand looking at it. I get overwhelmed. It's like when I was really young, I moved into this house and there was a lot to get done. It took me years to deal with certain things because every time I went to this situation, it just feels like it was going to overwhelm me. It wasn't until I started doing things piece by piece, just a little bit every day, just a little bit every day, just a little bit every day, that I got things under control. And in a room that just felt like I can't do anything with it, it's just a wasted room because I can't overcome this problem. I started inching at it little by little by little, and after, it probably took me 6 months before I was like, I can functionally use this room. It was quite the thing, but it was little by little, little by little. I feel like that's the trick with Pisces. The trick, I don't know, I feel like it's like the benefit of Pisces, when we can find our little bit by bit that we can start building from, and we just do a little bit every day, especially if it's first thing in the morning, because then you get it done, you get it out of the way, and then it kind of builds your confidence. You're like, I did that. I did that step today. I moved forward today. I moved forward today on this situation that I want. And it builds your confidence. It helps keep driving you forward. It's a very positive energy. And this can be for you, if this, whatever this situation, you might be one of those Pisces that's pretty successful, but there may be like one or two little things that you just never seem to get your hands on. You never seem to move forward enough with. They're saying that too. Like if there's one little thing or two little things, you're like, I would really like that, but I never move forward with it. I never seem to get it, together. A little bit every day, a little bit every day. Okay, I'm getting this to the side because, all right, before I go down this road, let's just be sure, because I feel like I'm blah, blah, blahing a lot, which, I mean, I do that anyway. Some of you, I know you're going to go to the romance thing. I just know you're going to, because Pisces tend to be in love with love. It's not a bad thing, but it's kind of like, well, how am I supposed to do that inch by inch? How am I supposed to do that 10 to 15 minutes a day? What is it that you are attracted to with other people? And how can you emulate that yourself? I don't know. So like if you're attracted to confident people, do you feel like you're confident enough? How can you start putting work towards that? Like Paul McKenna books and stuff like that. A little bit every day, just reading 10 to 15 minutes a day, doing those self-help books. A social media presence does help. I feel like that's a slippery slope, but okay. So maybe you have a social media or maybe you don't, but it's one of those things where sometimes people make their own personal, whatever, social media, wherever, like there's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, obviously, now I'm thinking about it, where you can just do a little work every day, maybe deciding what video you want to do, and every week you just put out a little video about who you are and giving a little bit of your personality, and then maybe if you're trying to date online or whatever you're trying to do, people can get an idea of who you are and what flavor you are, and maybe you can attract the right person. It's just moving towards it. But I feel like, again, I'm going down that road, but I'm like, you already know what you want, whatever it is. It shouldn't be that obscure to get to it. So if that information helps, great. If it doesn't, don't worry about it. Because I'm getting there's a standstill that can lead into something more. I think what the catch-22 at this thing is like we hit the standstill. Why did you do that, phone? Don't do that. Okay. We hit this standstill, and it's kind of like, oh, I guess it's over. Things might be like whatever the situation is, there's a lot of energy here right now is what I'm feeling. There's a lot of inspiration right now to move things forward. And then I feel like the daydream gets a little stale, and it's like this moment where I could end up moving on from the thought of something I want. And they're saying that's the precise moment where you should start working on it. If you hadn't already, when you hit this moment of the standstill and there's nothing happening, there's two different ways this could go. You could go into a whole new fantasy and a whole new daydream that's also not going to create anything in your life, which it's your business if you choose that's what you need to do. Or that's the moment where you start to create what you want. And it's where that fantasy can start becoming a reality, kind of like, well, right now it's just a daydream. It doesn't really matter unless I start doing this. unless I start doing that, unless I change my circumstances and get myself out there more. So maybe you want to be a writer, for example, and you're like, you can think of all these beautiful stories and things you'd like to do, and you can think about all the events you'd like to be a part of. You don't have to make a giant story. Maybe just write one page, a little short story just to entertain yourself, and then take that story again, go back to it, and then expand on it. And then maybe use that for your outline. Well, this is the beginning to the end, but there's so much that can happen between the two, and just keep building on it. Keep making it larger, keep building it up, keep refining it. Stuff like that. They're saying it doesn't have to be this horrible, like, mountain, like, oh my God, how will I get across this? I feel like Mount Everest is a great analogy. I want to say it's Mount Everest is the tallest mountain on the planet. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. But, like, I think it was that mountain where I saw people who, like, what they go through to get to the top of that mountain. My first thought was, thankfully I don't have the need to do that, because it's like it's freezing and it's cold and it's treacherous, and like they're crossing ladders over these canyons, and I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. It doesn't have to be that. And it's one of those things where we can build it up to where it's like, I have to get it, I have to get the gold, I have to go all the way to the top, I have to do it now. You don't have to do it that way. And hopefully this is coming forward, like, make it what you want it, and do it in the steps that make you comfortable. It's kind of like me. It's like, I do like hiking, but I don't see me going to Mount Everest. I just don't see myself going, yay, like, I made it to the top. I just don't see myself, like, I don't know, that just doesn't float my boat for whatever reason. I think the reason I'm kind of triggering on that is because make sure your goals are your goals. Other people might be like, and you could do this, Pisces, and you could do this, Pisces, and how about this, Pisces, and don't stop there, Pisces, go here, Pisces. For the people this is connecting to, keep your goals your goals. Even if other people are getting excited and they're deciding you should do this and you should do that, always bring it back to what you want, and just let them kind of trail off. Always keep your goal your goal. Always keep your energy going towards what you want it to be, not what somebody else is. You don't even have to talk to somebody about it. You don't have to, like, if they get all excited and they want to include you in something, you can always say, I'll think about it, or you can always go, not right now, not at this point. Make sure your goals stay what your goals need to be for you. What is this? This was face down. Be kind to yourself. I feel like most people have this issue. I don't know if it's more prevalent for Pisces or not, but be nice to you. Give yourself a break. Even if other people are being, like, too much. We'll just say they're too much, whatever you want to put there. Even if other people are being too much, find a way to cut down that chatter from them, however you need to do that. And don't accept their chatter. Don't let that, absorb into what you're feeling and thinking. See it for what it is and let that go. Be nice to yourself. It's really important. People empowering themselves by being kind to themselves, especially with their internal chatter, big difference, huge difference, better results. Be careful of that. That's face down. I feel like that's something where it's like other people might be pushing expectations on you, and you might accept that and start talking to yourself negatively. Be aware of it, address it, shut it down, move it away. I've probably said this 45 million thousand times, but big Paul McKenna fan, British author. I have no stock in that person, but I probably should because I mention him all the time. I use those type of books. Just if you look them up and anything looks interesting, I recommend you get it, try it out. It might be very empowering for you. The point is of this situation, there's so much here that could be yours. This Ace of Cups, whatever that is, you can make this happen. It's there for you. Your moment is here. Slow and steady wins the race. Piece by piece by piece by piece. Especially if you have it in enjoyable pieces. Like I've done things where I do 10 to 15 minutes on certain rooms. I'll go in there for that long and I'll make it, and I make myself do something for 10 to 15 minutes that makes a difference. And then I'm like, all right, enough. And I get out. You know what? By the time the end of the week comes in, that's almost 2 hours, just a little shy, but it's almost 2 hours. That's 2 hours worth of work I put in that room, that I've moved ahead, that I wouldn't have had, that I personally celebrate. I don't expect anybody else to celebrate, but I celebrate it for myself. They're saying, whatever this is, do it your way, celebrate your own accomplishments, and create what you actually want. This is also one of those things that you might build on later. Whatever this subject is, maybe this is the one thing you're going to try it with. Whatever this is, this one thing. Like I'm using the room analogy. That's how I started. I just did it with the room. That was just the only thing I did. I didn't do 5 different things for 10 different. Like, I didn't spend an hour jumping from 4 to 5 different things. You know what I mean? I only did one thing. I chose one thing I wanted done, and I did 10 to 15 minutes every day. I achieved it. But then I also realized I can apply this other places. I do 2 now. But that's what I can do without burning myself out. That's my business. That's how I work. It's also because I have a lot of other things to do in the day. I just can't do that all day. I have other things to do. So this is what works for me that doesn't burn me out. You might realize that this pattern not only works, but might build you into other successes in your life if you can actually adopt this and create this for your own. Be careful of the negative self-chatter. I'm getting that one more time. Okay. I know I've mentioned that in other readings. I guess for Pisces. I don't remember where, but... Okay. So, especially if you use the Paul McKenna stuff, blah, 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 and when you start changing that negative chatter, if you have that, you might start noticing that certain memories and thoughts will bubble up in your head. Because out of the darkness comes healing is what I'm getting here. So take this with a grain of salt. You might notice you're not allowing yourself to say negative things. Like maybe for some reason you refer to yourself as lazy. Like, oh, I'm so lazy. That's why I didn't get that done, blah, 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 blah. And then you stop doing that. And you start reforming that thought like, hey, you've been doing really good. If you just do a little bit more, it'd be even better. But if that's all you can do, that's okay. But if you did a little bit more, can you imagine how good? Just a little bit more, it can be a great thing. So you're like you're rewriting this. You're trying to create a better, more positive, more uplifting energy in your own brain. You might notice like certain things, like all of a sudden you'll have a flash on somebody and you'll realize you might start connecting to memories where maybe some of this energy came at you the first time, like who started giving you the impression that they thought you were lazy. Stuff like that might come forward. If that comes forward, I'm a self-help person. I read self-help books and I figure out how to handle that myself. A therapist like BetterHelp.com might help you, or wherever therapist. I don't know what you need to do with it. I'm going to be fair because there's so many people out there, but it's kind of like realizing that you might realize that this energy or where these thoughts came from did not originate with you. It was somebody else's opinion. And the more you push it away, it might not work. You might have to actually go through the thought and like deconstruct the thought. So they're saying if that becomes a challenge, realize that like either a self-help book, finding a way to deconstruct those things, or talking with a therapist might be necessary to help deconstruct that negative talk. Because the more you start using positive talk, there might be some pushback, and you might find out why you started embracing that negative self-talk, if that's a problem for you. It's kind of like a side thing. So it's kind of like if you get this far and things go really well and you're doing that, but then you're kind of like, I'm trying to do the positive self-talk, but these thoughts and feelings and faces keep popping up in my brain about memories, and it's becoming difficult. They're saying you might like self-help books, a therapist. There's probably other things out there where you can talk it out with people and try to bring that energy down so it can't control you, but it might be something that has to be dealt with to the side in a different manner. They're just kind of addressing that, just in case it becomes an issue. But it can be, like, again, I'm a self-help person. I use the Paul McKenna books. That's worked for me. That might not work for everybody. Therapists might work for you. Something else might work for you. They're just saying realize there might be a little bit more that needs to be unearthed there and dealt with and sorted out so that it doesn't hold you back anymore. All right, I think we're done. I'm going to shut this down here. Thank you very much for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below. Same email. Thanks again for watching. Have a great day.